Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Standpoint. Let's turn attention now to security. At least 6 soldiers were killed while school and military vehicles were set ablaze when suspected Boko Haram terrorists attacked the Nigerian military, according to media reports on Tuesday. The attack happened over the weekend in Damboa local government area of northeastern Borno State. An eyewitness described the assault as well coordinated and added that it looks like a revenge mission. Meanwhile, terrorists suspected to be members of a Boko Haram breakaway faction, and that's the Islamic State West Africa ISWAP, also bombed a police station in Borno State, killing 2 officers. The police spokesperson Lumuyiwa Adejobi in a statement said the terrorists detonated the bomb at Nganzai Divisional Police Headquarters at midnight on Thursday, 9 January. Nigeria is facing multiple security challenges in different regions, while the country is battling a Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast. Banditry and kidnapping are high in the northwest. Joining me to discuss this is the Director General, International Institute of Professional Security, Tony Ofoyetan. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Again, welcome to our studio. I know it's also your first time,
yes,
so let me welcome you officially as well. Happy New Year to you.
Beautiful, and congratulations to the TVC family.
Thank you very much. All right, so let's look at the before we zero in, because I know that we're seeing a lot of attacks on security personnel, whether in the military or in the police. But let's start generally with security. And I want to start you off with a statement made recently by the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, I think just about 2 or 3 days ago, Peter Obi, where he said that he was asking the Nigerian government to improve on security, and that generated, reaction. Some people felt like, look, what are you talking about? Security has improved, in a couple of months, but for other people, he was saying the right thing. There is still insecurity in the country, and the government needs to, do a lot in that regard. You as security, personnel, what's your take on that? Where are we in terms of security?
Well, let me start by saying, one, I'm not a politician. So I may not join issues with Peter Obi.
Oh, absolutely.
I know very well that for now, maybe subsequently, but for now, whatever Peter Obi is saying is going to be seen from the political angle. So that's why I won't join issues with him.
But is there substance to what he said?
The fact that security has improved relatively is not a subject of contention. Except for the fact that we also say it's not yet Uhuru. Now, if you look at what happened recently, is a product of that our security agencies relapsed for some time because the level of attack relatively went down in Borno. If you look at it, it's not a subject of contention. Went down in Borno. Yeah, there are pockets of attack in some other places. That doesn't mean that we don't have avalanche of security challenges. The problem of kidnapping is still there. The problem of, pockets of attacks are still there, quite all right, yes. I want to assume that with the volume, if you look at what happened in 2020, between 2020 and 2023, if you look at what happened at the volume, and you will discover that relatively for that 6 months, there's some level of stability. Stability in the sense that the service chiefs were getting to have a little mastery of how to coordinate the whole thing. The only problem they have was that of being proactive. Now you have a situation where it's more of a reactive thing, and that now became a problem to the police and also to the military, that led to the bombing of the police station and also the hard target, the military base, as it were. Now, for me, for Peter Obi, what he's saying is not, there is nothing special about it. Every Nigerian will say improve on security. Now, it became a national issue because he is a politician, and a very major one for that matter. So whatever he says, even if 1 million people have been saying the same thing, will be echoed. And that's why I say I'm not joining issue with Peter Obi. But now, as we speak today, do we have security challenges? Yes. Are the security agencies working on it? Yes. Are they doing enough? No.
Okay, so let's unpack what you said. I want to start from the place where you said the security agencies relapsed, and I just want to understand, what you mean by relapse.
Now, you see, if you look at the way the whole thing was coordinated, the military and the police, almost simultaneously, you will agree with me to the extent that if it were to be when the military and the police were on their top alertness, it wouldn't have happened like that. One, it's a product of intelligence failure, basically. Secondly, an insider, what you call an insider threat, so to say. Participants criminals from an inside. Second, the information, diverge of information and the like, breach of intelligence. Now, this cumulatively are product of what led to the successful operation of these terrorist groups. Now, what we expect is, as we speak today, now, the military, the police, the military, have they been able to successfully deploy technology in the fight against terrorism? Now, the answer is in the negative. But we're in an era where technology becomes the main tool globally. But we're still applying analog security. And that is a disadvantage to us. So what I expect the military and the police formation is to now look inward. First, to what extent have you been able to apply technology? Yes, the police is doing a lot. No doubt about it. A lot. No doubt about it. If you think the police is not trying, then let them withdraw for just 1 hour anywhere in Nigeria. Then you will know that they are doing a lot. Now that we are even being in this studio means that they are working. But what we are saying is this. In addition to the avalanche and great work that they are doing, what is their role in terms of the application of technology? The IGP said we are going to fish out those that, bombed the police station and killed the refined 2 police officers and the like. Then the question will be this: how will you successfully do that? That means that you will need the infiltration of either the human intelligence within that community to be able to bring them out, or you will need intelligence. You are talking of maybe forensics. Forensic science now comes on board. To what extent have we been able to deploy all this technology when it comes to security matters and security solutions? Now, these are very germane in 2025. We should not be applying security or executing security as it was done in 2020 or in the 90s. It's a different ball game entirely today. The terrorist group are becoming more sophisticated. They are splitting themselves into different cell groups so that it becomes more complex and more confusing for security agencies. Recently, you saw the DSS arrested some group of Boko Haram that were trying to settle in Osun State. They were trying to settle in Osun. Good enough, DSS were able to proactively arrest them, detain, because what they were doing was trying to build another cell group right in Osun State there. Go to Delta State there. They are already there. Now in the south here, you are just looking at it as if it's relatively peaceful. It is not. What you are seeing is strategic location from the Sambisa forest. Because Sambisa forest today is already a hot zone. And it's like all eyes are now on Sambisa forest. So what is happening is that these people are breaking into different cell groups and going into places seemingly that are quiet, and surreptitiously we enter those communities and even render some community service. If you look at what this Lakarawa, what they did in Sokoto, when they came in uninjurious, surreptitiously. They helped the community. Even the bandits within that community initially, they helped them to chase out the bandits. Over time, what happened? They started marrying them. Over time, what happened? They started collecting taxes from them. Over time, they started becoming interested in the traditional stool. They started imposing their own version of Islam on the community, which is relatively different from what these people are used to in Islam. And before you know what is happening, they wanted to now do what? Take over. Now, it happened quietly. It's just like when you rear serpent. From that little thing you call small snake. A snake is a snake.
And that's what was really good too, because you've talked about Lakurawa, and I think it was during the accusation or allegations, from Niger, that Nigeria was colluding with France to, destabilize this country, and then also mentioned Lakurawa, and then the military responded and said, look, this group has been there for years. They've known about them for years. But if this, you have also mentioned cell groups. Is there an inability to deal with these issues, if we are aware? Is there an inability to deal with these issues right from when they start and then till they become, the giant that they are today? What's the gap between look, you know that this thing exists and it has started and we're not able to deal with them, and then they become giants?
Now, you see, with due respect, I think I would indict the former president to some extent because terrorism is like cancer. If you did not deal with it decisively from the beginning, it becomes a monster subsequently. During the last administration, what terrorism did under Buhari's administration was to spread and have roots without necessarily coming out with the whole of its forces. You will discover that even at a time within the COVID period, you will see mercenaries were being moved from the north in truck right to the south. Some were apprehended, some were successful. And what they were doing then was to build camps and cell groups in every nook and cranny of Nigeria. Now that means that that was a season of plantation. Now, if you look at what is happening now, I gave you an example that DSS was able to, for example, apprehend a cell group that was going to establish itself in Osun State. If it were to be in the previous government, I can bet you that that thing will not come to limelight. Not to even talk of that they were being detained and the cell group being, destabilized or dissipated and all those stuff like that. Now, there was this tacit acceptance, or if you call it look away. Some may see it the other way, but that is the way I saw it. If you look at what happened till now, in your neighborhood, you will see people that don't speak your language. They don't have houses. They don't have wives. They don't have children. What do? They sleep on their bike. That is the only house they have. If you go to their neighborhood, you can see hundreds of them in the evening, very early in the morning. They don't have their bath. They don't have a life. And they have means of income. The bike, they can ride it and make up to 10,000-20,000 naira in a day. But you look at their leg is the true slipper. Who is buying that bag for them? Who is collecting the money from them? Who is coordinating them? This is the meaning of cell group. This is the meaning of terrorism yet to what? To explode.
But people will say that, look, everyone has the right to move across the country. Are we now to label, every foreigner within a particular area as a cell group? Because we also run the risk of that. Is it that, the security agencies are not doing enough to profile and ensure that, okay, let's profile everyone who lives in this kind of group of people and ensure that we know who they are. And if there are suspicions, and then, they deal decisively
I
with them.
love that. Profile. Some of us have been privileged to travel outside this country. The first thing when you are applying for visa is, where are you going to stay? Who are you going to meet? How many days are you going to use? Is that applicable here? What is the role of the Nigerian custom vis-a-vis our fight against terrorism? What is the role of the Nigerian immigration vis-a-vis look, the whole burden is on police, the whole burden is on the military. What of the immigration? What of customs? In Nigeria, even custom, the former a CG of custom have come to identify that we have more than 2,000 illegal routes in Nigeria, where people go in and out freely, illegally. What have they done to reduce, if not eliminate, those illegal routes? In Nigeria today, you are talking of a country where foreigners, I just don't want to mention some names of countries, will come and even make you a slave in your own country. Go to Zamfara there, you will see mining, illegal mining at the highest order. If the government did not take care and did not act very fast, Zamfara will be like Congo. It's going to be like the Democratic Republic of Congo, the richest yet the poorest country in Africa. Why? Because any nation, any region where you have natural resources, what happened at that point in time is that there's going to be high level of violence. It is global. South Africa gold mine is like that. Now Nigeria has an average of 23 solid mineral resources at commercial quantity. To what extent has the government been intentional about regulating this industry in such a manner that the foreigners do not make us to fight against ourselves?
But they have now trained, I know that the Minister of Solid Minerals did say they have now trained mining marshals to deal with that issue of illegal mining. Is that sufficient, in your own view?
The issue is not mining marshal. The issue is federal government intentionality when it comes to curbing the excesses of foreign miners. That is the main thing. Foreign miners, who are they going to be fighting? They are going to be fighting Nigerians against Nigerians. In Niger Delta, you saw the way it happened. Foreigners will come, they will arm the Niger Delta boys with money and give them arms. And what are they going to do? Get our oil, illegal bunkering, and these boys will escort them to off the 200 nautical miles there. Then they are free to go. So if the oil is worth maybe $1 billion and they give this boy $300,000 and give them arm of another maybe $500,000 and the boys feel on top of the wall, they feel they are able to challenge the Navy. That's all. And you saw the volume. But thank God that some of these things have been reduced to the barest minimum because government has come to terms with the fact that, look, these people are using our people against us. That is what government must avoid when it comes to Zamfara, when it comes to Kaduna, when it comes to Osun, Oyo State, when it comes to Plateau State. What is happening in Plateau State today is basically because Plateau is a high deposit of resources. It must be. Recently, the Chief of Defense Staff also granted an interview with Al Jazeera, and you heard what he said about foreign infiltration when it comes to, even the sponsorship of terrorism, financing and all those stuff like that. I know it was being conservative and not trying to be, confrontational and all those stuff like that. DSS, they know the countries that are problem to Nigeria. Army intelligence, police intelligence, they know the countries that are, problematic to Nigeria. It is high time that one, Mr. President has to take the bull by the horn. You are either our friend or you are our enemy. Because people are dying, and it is Nigerians that are dying on daily basis. In the mine, they are dying. In Boko Haram camp, they are dying. In Lakarwa camp, they are dying. In Niger Delta, they are dying. Almost everywhere in this country, we are not at war, yet we are at war. All because internally we have people that are greedy, participants, criminals, that connive with this set of people to be able to do what? Defraud Nigerians against the interests of Nigerians. So if the government is able to come all out, who are their sponsors at this national level, at this our own level? Who are those people that are sponsoring them? Irrespective of whose oil is gone, bring them out, make a scapegoat out of them. The rest will do what? They will enter their shell.
I remember the previous administration saying that they had the list of sponsors of terrorism, and today nothing was said or done about that list.
I think it is better we leave that in. The federal government should just come out and tell Nigerians that it was a lie. Because if not so, it will keep embarrassing the present government that was never part of this whole thing. I think it's better. Either the government now will bring out that list and tell the public that this was the list, or alternatively saying that they were just telling lies. Because till today, it now becomes a recurring decimal at every security discussion, especially when it comes to solution, when it comes to trying to say who are those that are behind terrorism in this country. That list is always a recurring decimal. Then the government should come all out to say, look, this list never existed. For me as a person, I don't know if the list ever existed truly. Because if such list ever existed, the type of social media that we have today, the type of world technologically that we have today, I want to assume whether fake or original, there would have been a list in the internet.
As we begin to wind down the conversation, one of the things you mentioned is intelligence failure. And I know that every time, in fact for years, close to a decade now, if not more, when you talk about security, in the country, the first thing people like yourself mention is intelligence failure. And that has been a recurring narrative. So what do we do to get it right? To ensure that, look, we have intelligence, and we have intelligence that is working, and intelligence that is effective, and put to the right use. I know that sometimes in Plateau, we've spoken to residents who will say, oh, we gave them the information, and yet this attack happened. So how do we fix all of that?
One of the best ways to fix intelligence failure is to make those that receive the intelligence answerable. It's not, look, this whole blame will come to the desks of Mr. President, the desks of the police IG, the desks of the service chiefs and the like. Meanwhile, that intelligence is not going to go direct to them at the initial stage. Who were those people that received that intelligence? Who were those that processed the information rather, and processed the information to intelligence and became a veritable intelligence for use? Now it was established that this intelligence is veritable and is useful. Who didn't use it? Are you there with me? why didn't that person or group of people use it? Now, once you're able to establish it, make a scapegoat out of them. Remove them from that office because they may be participants criminal, they may be part of the cell group, they may just be people that are sympathetic to the cause of terrorism and just want to kill that information. They may be sponsored at the point of employment, you know, to do what? To play the bidding of those that sponsor them. So, if that is the case, once intelligence is gotten and is not used, and you are able to identify those that had the intelligence but didn't use them, remove them from that office and prosecute them. Other people won't do it again.
I mean, I wish we could, you know, continue, but we do have to leave it there. Just a lot. You said a lot to, you know, a lot to unpack. Okay, I understand that I have 3 minutes more, but let me ask you this. You mentioned something quite important, and I don't want us to overlook it. If you can answer in like 2 minutes, the issue of insider information. And where is that coming from, and how, you know, can they nip it in the bud?
Now, you see, when you talk about insider information, you know, I keep mentioning the phrase cell group. Now, cell group we have what we call sleeper cell. I've said this thing severally here. Sleeper cells are those people that are sympathetic to the cause of terrorism. It could be a governor, it could be a minister, it could be a president, it could be a member of House of Rep and the like. Now, they are sympathetic either in terms of ideology, either because they come from the same tribe, or because they are from the same affiliation in any way whatsoever. So, unannounced, you know, they are sympathetic to their cause. It's just like you believe that this person is from my tribe. Even though he's been indicted for armed robbery, he's supposed to die. What can I do so that I won't die? Are you there with me? And maybe, if possible, give him life sentence or reduce. That is a sleeper cell to some extent. Now, there are those ones that are, you know, coordinated. Now, those are the type of people that it's easy to buy. And those are the type of people that it's easy to give information to the terrorist group. Now, if you have this type of people, what do? Personnel audit. How did they get into this establishment? The army, the navy, the police. Who are the people that signed their reference letter? Why did those people sign their reference letter? What is their background? Do a profiling on all your personnel. And those people that are odd, are you there with me? Connected, whether remotely or immediately, to terrorism, terrorist group, terrorist country, what do? Filter them out. Do a proper profile of them. If you are not too convinced, what do? Remove them from our military base. Remove them from your police base. Have a clean slate of the police formation that you have. Now that will, to a very large extent, reduce the level of infiltration, the level of information giving out and selling of information and diverging of information that lead to either ambushments and the success of them. Hard target is not easy to attack. So when you hear things like military base being attacked, the first thing is let the military itself look inward before looking outward. Because it's not something you just sleep and wake up and say, let's go and attack them. It's not like a school. You understand? So, and that is why it is imperative now that a personnel audit be conducted on everybody that is in security, whether military, police, or paramilitary agency in this country. Right. Without those that are irrelevant and those that work with suspicious record. And let's have those that are clean.
Thank you so much for your time. Director General, International Institute of Professional Security.
Thank you.
Tony Ofoyetan. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right, you've been watching Standpoint. Remember that you can watch a repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. and at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. I am Precious Amayo. Thanks for watching.